Now, Zerka, what I found interesting also is in the same monograph, you had also these list of techniques. Who wrote this text? It was Moreno who wrote the yes.
No, I wrote
No, you did it.
I wrote it.
Yeah. Moreno. When I said it was Moreno, you are also Moreno.
Right.
The female Moreno. So you did that, this text. So you...
He just suggested one day it would be nice to have some kind of summary, and that's all, so I did it.
Mm-hmm. So one of the techniques now, talking about the techniques, the first one is soliloquy.
Yeah.
So if I understand well, in the soliloquy thing, I am Sergio, I am 6 years old, and I just wanted to tell you how happy I am being together with Zazinho again.
That's not necessarily it. That's not necessarily soliloquy. Imagine you're playing out marbles, and your friend is teaching you. You're not speaking to him because you want to learn, but your soliloquy is, he's so much better at this than I am. Am I ever going to be as good as he is? Or whatever. Understand?
So myself talking about that.
Yourself talking about what you're experiencing. Sometimes a soliloquy is, you're sitting in front of a boss, and he's being very bossy. And not you, but I'm a person. And you feel, oh, this man is such a bore. He keeps telling me the same thing. I never learn anything new from him. And he treats me like I'm a nincompoop, you know? That's the soliloquy. He treats me as if I'm worthy his considerations. You can't do that in the scene, but you can do it in the second.
Yeah, and speaking with myself is as if I was alone.
Right.
Then there is...
Remember Hamlet, the famous soliloquy. If anybody ever remembers anything about Hamlet, it's his famous soliloquy.
The second technique is what you call the therapeutic soliloquy.
Therapeutic soliloquy is, I'm really better at this than I thought I was. I'm really better at my job than my boss thinks I am. I'm good at my work. I have to let him see that I'm good at my work.
You know what? Since I started playing marbles, I am pretty surprised how much I have improved on doing that.
I bet you are.
Okay, technique number 3, self-presentation.
Well, you already did that.
Yes.
That's already
so the one I started doing...
I am so many years old, I am playing with my friend, and I'm doing such and such.
Good.
Yeah.
Then the fourth one is self-realization.
Yeah, that's in, for instance, let's say that this was not a good relationship. Not this particular one, or anyone. And you realize that you really don't enjoy being with that person. I don't really know if I want to be with that person. I have to think about this for myself. Maybe, you know, I have another friend. I think I'm going to spend more time with the other one. I'm worthy of a better relationship. The other thing is a situation that has never happened, but that you desire to have happened. It's also a form of self-realization. I wish I had talked to my brother on the phone before I became so angry at me. I wish I'd written that letter I was planning to write and didn't. Yeah? You can do it right there.
Yeah. And then there is the fifth, which is quite impressive. Hallucinatory Psychodrama.
What?
Hallucinatory. I don't know if
Hallucinatory. Oh, that's mental patients, what they are hallucinating. And you will read about that in my book too. I'm going to produce that.
Okay, so this is something that has to do
that we used with
with
patients.
mental illness.
The emotional and hallucinatory content. Yeah. You'll read that in my book.
Then we have the double technique.
That's the double has been a shadow figure in much literature. Dostoevsky wrote a beautiful short story on the double that everybody should read. But it was a double that turned against the protagonist. In psychodrama, the double enhances the protagonist. For instance, I'm standing next to this person and I'm feeling, oh, I'm so sad and I can't tell anybody. My boyfriend just left me and I feel awful. And she may say, how did you know that?
Yeah. For instance, if I go and I say, well, I wonder if I'm being as clear as I always wanted to be when I speak to this gentleman, to this Sergio.
Yeah. Usually, I was taught that you are actually next to the protagonist, sit the same way, stand the same way, not as a voice of conscience behind them, a real double. And sometimes we use silent doubles with people to make them feel comfortable. I remember we did a dream with a girl, and the dream ended, and my husband went into another scene, and she said, give me back my double. She felt supported. It's like enlarging yourself in every way and feeling comforted by yourself. And challenged. Well, I didn't do that very well, did I? No, I didn't. I'll try better next time.
It's and then we have multiple double.
Yes, we did that with one very mute catatonic patient. One was her arms and her grim face. Another one, I was her voice. She was mute. And I screamed for her. And you know that at the next session, when Maria did the next session, she screamed. She had been mute all the time. You'll see that in my book.
Then mirror.
What? The
mirror.
Yeah. Well, my sister, for example, wouldn't admit that she was a mental patient and didn't want treatment, just needed a rest. So Moreno built what he called a mirror psychodrama, based on some of the history I had given him. And he constructed a family scene in which she was not being sick, but arguing with my parents. And she sat there and watched. She was amazed at somebody would have the temerity to play her role. So she got up on the stage. She said, that's very nice, thank you. That's not the way it was. Let me show you. That was exactly what he wanted. And we've done mirror psychodramas for a lot of patients who couldn't or didn't want to commit themselves to the stage.
Yeah. A mirror.
But you don't do it to shame them. You do it to help them open up.
Yeah. For instance, a situation where someone could come and play like I was playing as a child, playing marbles, and then I will be sitting there and looking at this situation.
With the two together.
Yes, and there's a certain point. At a certain point, I could come and say, look, this is not exactly how I am doing. The way I'm doing is like this, and I'm smiling. I'm not
unhappy.
Unhappy. Good. Then we have role reversal.
Well, you already did it.
I did it with my close friend. Yeah.
And that's very significant. If you can even emotionally role reverse with an opponent. I mean, this was a pleasant role reversal. Sometimes you have unpleasant ones. But you have to learn the point of the mental view of this other person in order to understand how to get along, or to decide not to get along. And it's perfectly all right. So no, I can't deal with that person. I'm not going to bother.
And the fact that I am not able to do role reverse with someone means that I'm not able to solve the conflict with this person.
Yes, it's a blockage.
Yeah.
It is. Now, however, somebody asked me that, is that a sociometric position? I said, no. It could very well be that the protagonist had not yet worked through the conflict with this person separately from this person. Because I knew one woman said, I can't be my mother. I said, I see that, and I didn't force her. She wasn't ready. There has to be certain readiness, openness to be able to do that. But you don't force her. That's a clinical observation you make.
Then we have another technique called the future projection.
Ah, yes. Here I am, I'm in England, and I'm talking, and I'm preparing to go to America. And I have in my mind an idea. I'm offered a job, and I take the job, but really I'm not pleased with what the job is going to mean in the long run. Fortunately, I don't go. But my projection is, if I go there, I'm going to be on the west coast of America, when all my relatives are on the east coast. I don't think I can do that.
Or I can say, well, here we are, 2016, and I am now back to Brazil.
Correct.
So,
voila.
Then we have...
It also means to prepare for it, then, if you go.
It's a way of preparing ourselves for something. So we put ourselves in a future situation.
Or I know that my mother is dying, for instance. I have to make up my mind. Am I going to go and see her in England, or do I stay here? What do I do?
Yeah. Then we have dream presentation.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You will see a dream presentation in a film that was made in 1963 in Paris. Moreno doing a dream. He didn't finish it up because the film ran out. But it was a presentation of a wife, in fact, like a future projection. Within the dream. It was actually a nightmare. She gets lost. And the last thing he did was, well, you're home now, safe with your mother, and I play her mother. She's waking up, and I say, she tells she had a terrible dream, so you've had a cauchemar, and that's come go for breakfast. But that's how he finished it. Actually, it was a predictive dream. She could not come to America because of that dream. Her husband was American, he wanted to come back here. That dream held her back. The dream was of being lost.
Was it about a couple? She was French, the guy was in an American in France. They were not going very well together. He wanted to come back. She was reluctant.
He came back 10 years later to the Institute in New York. One of my students directed the session, and he reported that session made it clear to him that his marriage was hopeless. He divorced and married again. His mother lived just down the road, down on the block.
So this was a combination of future projection, dream presentation. And then we have retraining of the dream.
No, actually the dream was a future projection within the dream.
Within the dream.
Yeah.
Fine.
And then you have what?
The retraining of the dream.
With the retraining, that Moreno said, there's some dreams, he didn't do it because I said we ran out of film. But normally what he would have done would have said, you can change the dream any way you want. But we actually make them go to sleep. I mean, I used to have a mattress. We let them lie down the way they do at night. Is your husband here with you? Are you alone? What time is it? Day, night, or day? Night is it? What's the room? That's the room light. And you take the position you had when you fell asleep. And then the moment the dream comes, you make them get up. And they go put into the dream. But it's bodily into the position of the sleeper. The position of the sleeper is different from reliving a dream. You start by lying down and sleeping.
Good. And then we have
doing it is, this is a painful situation. Let's redo it. In other words, the dream doesn't concentrate, doesn't work on you. You work on the dream. You can change it any way you want to make it more, to find some solution to this problem.
And then we have the 13th technique called therapeutic community. What about that?
That's when people get together for this, treatment of drug addicts or any kind of addiction. They are separate from the community, taken as a special residential community. That's how we treated drug addicts in the 80s and 90s, especially in Italy. I worked with therapeutic communities. But the whole purpose there was to get well. That was the focus of attention. And to get these people back to life without the drugs.
Yeah. Talking about running out of the film, let me check if we are not running out. Let me see. Well, I think that we still have some time, but yeah, a number of a few minutes more.
The therapeutic community is not a work community, although they may have to work. The purpose of the community is to leave that old life behind, start a new life. And we use all the methods we have with the group members to integrate them.